about to go somewhere odd now. Times to rise and elevation starts to drop down. Our little secret, don't kiss and tell, you're so bad. I'll probably see you in hell. Welcome to hell, baby. This is podcast hell.
I don't know who invented the clap. I should get a board.
But do you think the board preceded the clapping of the hands or the clapping of because I think like there's all these inventions in history where like some guy or woman or person of any gender came up with this.
This is podcast hell. It's a fucking guy. All right? Don't give me this fucking shit. A guy invented it.
Could be a lady.
Could be a lady. It could be a lady.
Maybe she was thinking like, oh, I should clap for that scene was good. And they're like, stop clapping. And then like that's how they came up with it.
What I would thought you were going to say, it's crazy how much important stuff in history is an accident. Like, didn't mean to do it.
Like polio vaccine, right? Or whatever.
I don't know. Is that one of them?
Yeah, he like left some samples overnight, and then this bacteria was like producing whatever we make the vaccine out of or something.
Well, how about the Bay of Pigs?
Was that an accident?
Well, it was like...
I thought the CIA deliberately did not.
What's the one where Kennedy was about to send nukes to Russia?
Yeah, that's Bay of Pigs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of like an accident.
No, Bay of Pigs was they were gonna forcibly like attack Castro, and then the U.S. government didn't support the rebels in Cuba.
Yeah.
I think they got massacred or something.
Okay, well then I'm going to cut this out.
Okay.
I can't be wrong. Not on my own podcast.
It's very easy to be wrong about things because I feel like now I have a creeping suspicion that I got that totally incorrect.
Which one? The Bay of Pigs?
Bay of Pigs, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was like we were very close to like nuclear Armageddon.
Yeah, I don't think that was the Bay of Pigs, though. That was...
What was that?
Oh, that's a good question.
It was like with Khrushchev?
Yeah.
Is that right? I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, we were close to...
Yeah.
That was exciting times, wasn't it?
Here's the thing. Everybody goes like, oh, my God, the world is on fire right now just because it's not. Compared to, like, fucking the Civil War.
Right,
or, like almost... like having a Cold War with... nuclear powers threatening to nuke each other, like,
or like World War I, where they're like, "Oh, we have to sit in this trench," and now they're throwing mustard gas. They develop this gas that just kills people in a very painful way.
Just nightmare.
Yeah. Or you have a sword here. Remember, everyone used to have to be ready to fight with a sword just in case.
I've got one.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like that used to be the reality of being a guy, a man.
What about the Trail of Tears? That was pretty wild. I'm just saying, there's been a lot of wild shit, and we pretend like, oh my God, Trump. And it's like, yeah, there's been like a million Trumps.
I don't know about a million Trumps.
There's been like, in the history of time, there's been a lot of...
In time, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've said this on the podcast before. I always comfort myself by just thinking of the worst times in history and how much of a pussy I am and how I would not have done well. In any...
No, you're a stout guy. You
any
would have been
historical time.
Come on.
No, I'm sure if I was raised in that
physically,
time,
I think you would be
physically,
okay.
I'd be fine.
You're a strong guy.
But I'm saying, like, mentally, if you were like, you know what, man, just go back to the Crusades and just put me in the Crusades, I'd be like, fuck, man, there's no TV, and I'm gonna die in the Crusades. This fucking sucks.
I don't think that's true because. Remember when you were a kid, there was no internet and you had a happy life. It's not like all the things that, like, well, with no Netflix, what will I do? Like, you'd read a book.
But even, like, dude...
Or you'd fucking bullshit with your friend. There would be no podcast. You'd just be sitting around as a stonemason just bullshitting. This would be us. We'd be two stonemasons just talking to each other and without...
Chatting.
These would be hammers.
Yeah.
And we'd just be having, talking about...
But we'd probably have to go fight a war at some point.
Yeah, they'd be like, hey, grab your hammers. The city's going to be under attack tomorrow.
Fight for the boy prince who...
Yeah, the Visigoths are coming or something.
all the chambermaids.
Yes, exactly.
You have to die for him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be... Yeah, I don't know. Did you see... I always talk about The Revenant and just being like... Yeah, I'd be like... I would just throw myself off the cliff.
No, but you wouldn't even be like this. We couldn't be the way we are. Like, We'd be such different people.
We'd be in much better shape.
We'd be thin.
Also, we'd be dead
malnourished
because nobody lives to this age. I'm 38. How old are you?
I'm 43.
So we'd be like the elders. Be like,
Maybe, yeah.
When I was a boy.
That's true. I'm watching the show The Nick. You know about
with Clive Owen?
And it's set in like the early 1900s or something. And he goes, we're going to extend the lifetime of a man from, it used to be 39 years and now it's 47 and science is pushing forward.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, wow. Like it was actually like, because not that people didn't get old. It's just that most people died of something before they got old.
Yes.
Yeah.
How far into the Nick are you?
Oh, just one episode.
Oh, okay. I've watched it.
It's supposed to be very good. Yeah. I liked it. Yeah, okay.
The end is insane.
Okay. Well, then that kind of is a spoiler, but
of course.
Okay.
No, if I just tell you the last scene of the show, I won't. But it's a true story too. You could also like.
Yeah.
It's also like being like, oh, World War II. All my lips are sealed. Like it happened.
That's true, but I don't know what happened. So
Okay.
Don't tell me. But I think we'd just be totally different people. We couldn't be like this the way we are. We would just be totally different. We would be probably, our voices would be deep from having smoked cigarettes for 30 years at this point, probably.
Yeah.
And we'd just probably be, I don't know. I'd probably be like some poor farm person in India or something, like.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like you really wouldn't probably have traveled. You'd probably like live where you were born.
Yeah.
Which for me, I'd be in Germany.
Yeah, you'd be
Deutschland.
like, you'd be like a wheat farmer or something,
Yeah. I'd probably like enjoying a good Hefeweizen after a hard day's work.
Exactly.
In the German fields.
Yeah.
Feeling guilt over.
And you'd be wishing you could be a stone-mason. You'd be like, oh, I want to be a stonemason.
Or I think stonemason's probably, I'm trying to think of like the jobs I would have. I would not have wanted to be a field guy. Just because like, the sun, the heat. I guess stonemason's got a lot of heat.
I don't think
too.
people got to choose their professions. It's like your dad, we're this, and this is what we are. Like, your uncle owns a forge, so you're going to be an apprentice and make horseshoes.
You don't think it would have been jesters?
I don't think there was that many jester job openings, honestly. Like,
how do you fucking? That's a good. You could go into the arts.
The idea of a career is like a relatively new thing.
Yeah.
Like most people, they don't have mobility in their societies to have careers, right?
Isn't that India's like that?
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Well, one of the times I went back, there's these people who they're like cow herders, basically. They're herders, and they like take the cows around to different fields, and they have them shit on your field to fertilize it, for like the new crops.
Yeah.
And it's not just like a guy's job. It's like the whole family. This is what they do. That's the caste they're in.
Yeah.
And, maybe the kids go to school, but it's super hard for those kids to like get out and do something else. It's not like,
Didn't they get rid of the caste system though officially?
Officially, but if your parents herd cows for a living and you have to help, it's like being a farmer, like you're a farmer, you have to help your parents on the farm. They're not going to be able to like, that's just your life and you have to just do that. So it was pretty sad because I saw these kids, they're pretty young, and then this is just like their life, and they don't really get a chance.
It's
to like,
set when you're a kid. Yeah.
Kind of, unless you like maybe really just think in your mind, that's like real bootstrapping. Like I'm going to do something else, and I'm going to like read books at night with like a kerosene lamp or some shit. You know what I mean? Like they don't have resources to do stuff
Did your family have like a position there?
No, my dad was like a dentist. So we were pretty.
So you were in the dentist cast.
Well, my mom's side she's from a farming village, so but her parents, her they own land and stuff. They're not like, I mean, they still work in the fields. They do stuff. My mom has this great story where when she was a kid, they would run, they would gather like shit to like make manure with, and they'd have these little baskets and they'd fill them up and they'd carry them on their head. And sometimes she's like, if the shit was watery, it would like drip out of the basket into your head. I was like, wow, Mom.
I just remember that.
Shit.
That just makes me think of the scene from the Jungle Book, remember? Where she's like, I will go to fetch the water.
No.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
And then Mowgli sees the girl, and he's like, I've been fucking around with these tigers and bears. I want to fuck this shit.
Right. He's like, oh, what are these feelings I'm having?
And Baloo's like, no, come hang out. He's like, dude, she's fucking, I have a dick. I'm out of here.
Right.
Can't fuck bears. That's wild. Are your parents still there? Or your parents came over?
No, my dad passed away a while ago. My mom went back to India, but she lives in the city now. She has like a whole nice house. She
whole
lives
thing.
in. Yeah.
Cool.
So
that's wild, man. It's wild to be like in a different country than your parents. Or your
yeah,
mom.
it is. It's a weird thing. Like my dad passed away in 2011, and then my mom. They were both going to move back to India anyway, but then they sold that house. Which I didn't grow up in one house, but that's the house that I sort of was my home from like high school onward. But once that house is gone, I'm like, I don't have like a home anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like a full on adult.
You make your home.
I'm like a half orphan. I have to make a home now for myself. I can't go home. Like I have to make a home.
You have to like.
It's very interesting.
You have to have sex and make a child.
Yeah.
And then that child is used to a Christmas tree being in a certain town.
Right.
And then you go, I guess I'm from there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You who knew that you would, Sherman Oaks would be it for you?
I wish. No. I'm aspiring to Sherman Oaks. I'm in Sunland.
One day.
No, I talked to. This is funny. Not funny. Maybe it's sad, but I was talking to my girlfriend, and I realized from talking to her, like she's like when she was a kid, she only lived in like two places until she was like 18.
Yeah.
Like one house and then another house that her parents had. I realized that I have never lived in the same place for more than 3 years. Like either I'm moving to a different apartment or a house, or I'm moving somewhere else.
Yeah,
I never had, not that it wasn't stable. It was very stable. Like my parents were very stable people, but we never stayed in the same place for a long time. Even my house that I thought of as my house, I stayed there from 9th grade till the end of high school. And then I went away to college. So even that was only 4 years. So I've never really, even now, up until this point, I've never lived anywhere more than 3 or 4 years.
Well, when you came to the house today, you had a bindle stick on your shoulder.
Right, yeah. I'm like a...
You hitchhiked here? You're a rambling man.
In some ways, I'm a rambling man. I don't have roots.
I'm a rambling... My dad was in the Army.
Yeah, okay.
So I was in like a new school every year until high school, basically. And then when they did kind of like settle down and they were like, okay, we're going to live in Northern Virginia, my parents got divorced. And then that was like, that's like an A-bomb on whatever you're
right.
And then we were moving and living in different places. So it's like.
Then you had 2 homes. I mean, you're really living it up.
Yeah, I had more because we lived with my grandma for a while and it was crazy. It was a while. We were like in boxes.
It's funny to me now when I hear people talk, oh, we can't move because the kids, they have their friends, their school. And I'm like, what? Who gives a fuck? They'll be fine.
I feel the same way. When me and my wife talk about having
Coddle
kids,
these fucking kids.
I feel the same fucking way.
That's how you learn how to make friends and shit.
But then you know what my wife says is, what are you talking about? It's nice to live in a place and have people you know from and have friends from your childhood, and there's nothing wrong with having roots.
No, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not going to traumatize a child if they have to move to another town.
Yeah, and every kid with roots is weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the apocalypse comes down, some kid's going to be like, this is the house where I grew up, and I'm going to be like, I have no home, and I'll slash their throat.
Chop their head off and go, are you happy now? Yeah, you can really... Well, look, when it gets to the point of having to kill people for their property, I mean, I think the sad, depressed comics, I think we're fighting for like an extra 10 seconds of survival. Someone else is coming.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Every time there's like a plumber in the house fixing something, like a big guy, and he's walking through, and like I remember the last time somebody came to fix something in our kitchen, he's like, oh, this is a nice place. And I'm like, well, as soon as there's a solar flare, he's fixing that for himself because he can just come back in here and fucking kill me. Get out of here. Change the locks. What the fuck? I always have a little bit of like, this could all very quickly just become walls.
Yeah, it's a very thin...
It's razor thin.
Civilization's a very like thin layer of existence.
Yeah, it's like, what would I say, like 6 meals? If you miss 6 meals, you start going into your neighbor's house. 2 days, no food? Yeah, that's enough.
Well, I mean, during the pandemic, people were like hoarding like toilet paper. People can't handle.
No.
Like if things don't start, if you can't go, like once the supply chains break down, it's just a little matter of time after that.
Yeah, it does. There's like a fantasy version I have in my head of like me like living on the land, Like I've got my own crops. I've got like an animal that I know that one day I will have to slaughter her for meat. But until then, the cow gives me milk, and I really like know shit. I can like, fix a water heater.
Well, what
but
are you
the amount of
you're gonna learn all that stuff after the society collapses?
No, you got to learn it now. I don't want to learn it. I'm already busy with my job and the podcast. I don't have time
even
to
the plumber who's going to take your house, there's going to be no running water. So, I mean, his skills are really obsolete as well.
No, but he's
just
a big
he's
guy.
physically strong.
He's just physically strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how's his cardio?
Yeah. Well, how about how many rounds do I have in my gun?
Yeah. See, my cousin, he's the perfect guy for the apocalypse. My cousin in Austin, he's an ER doctor. Okay. He was in the Marines. He's been to Iraq.
Yeah.
No.
He's
the perfect guy.
That's the perfect guy.
Yeah.
He's got a little bit of empathy, a little bit of blood.
yeah.
On his hands.
It's a great package. It's a great package.
That's the thing you need, and something that will be of value if people start eating people. He's like, hey, if you hurt your knee, you need me.
Yeah, he's a healer and a killer. He's got both those bases covered. How can you?
Man. I'm gonna let him in.
Yeah, let him in.
You hear him pawing?
Let him in. Special guest Gordon. See, you got Gordon though. That's pretty useful in the apocalypse.
Oh yeah, well he will not be useful.
You don't think he'll defend you?
Nah, maybe he will. I don't know. He defended us very early on after we got him from the shelter. I remember there were like, we were living on the first floor and there was an alley behind us. And it's LA, so there were just homeless orgies 3 feet from our head when we were sleeping. And he would hear stuff in the alley, and I would wake up, and he would just be like up, looking out the window, like kind of like between me and my wife, like watching shadows move. So I was like, all right, that's solid. That's given some real like.
He knows who his people are, and
I think he knows who his people are, but also like there'll be times where like he'll just like try to go in someone's car. Like I'm walking
he's just too friendly, and he's like,
just too
hey, let me get in this car.
He's too friendly. He likes people. He doesn't really like fight with other.
Yeah, I think someone with lunch meat would just come and steal him from you or something.
Yeah. Or if I talk too much shit about Scientologists on this podcast, somebody will feed him like poisoned steak.
Oh no!
That's what they do, man. They fucking kill people's pets. These fucking.
Is that verified?
Psychopaths.
Is that true?
I mean, it's what Leah Remini says.
I believe Leah Remini.
I actually do believe Leah Remini. I do believe her.
Who are you going to choose to believe, her or the Scientology people?
I don't know, man. I got into this last podcast by myself. Got into it. I just fucking rage podded into my own camera for 40 minutes.
It's a solo pod.
Solo pod.
Oh, wow.
I actually like the solo pods, but they're insane.
Yeah.
If you could just watch me setting it up by it is not a pleasant sight. But Linkin Park came back.
Oh yeah,
but they're
with
late.
The Scientology thing.
With the Scientology,
they got a new singer or something, right?
And she's good.
Yeah,
but she's Scientology is a little bit of baggage. I also sometimes I feel bad because it's like Scientologists get a bad rap for being a cult when most religions are pretty much the same shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
I mean, religion is just like, your cult was successful. Now we're going to call it a religion.
Yeah, it's like if you get the cult over a certain hump, now it's got legs.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. What is the difference? I mean, the exploitation. There's plenty of exploitation in every religion.
Sure. I guess the question is like whether it's like built in or if it's just people who happen to be people are going to be exploitative of other people.
I don't think it's built in. I think it's just people see that that's a good spot where these people listen. They'll believe stuff and do stuff just because somebody tells them.
Yeah, they're like, wait, I'm getting something. Suck my dick.
Basically, yeah.
It always comes down to suck my dick.
Well, yes. Yeah.
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 I watched like the David Koresh one. It's like some documentary. Yeah. But like it's just countdown to like a dude fucking another dude's wife with the other dude crying in the room next to him. Just being like, so, crazily enough, this is important to God. That I bust one in your wife's mouth. God, that's what he's saying. I'm just the messenger. Don't kill the messenger.
What can I do? I'm just a vessel through which God gets his dick sucked. No, but it's people just find there's something like deep in the genetics of human beings where some people just want to exploit other people. Like they see that they can and then they do.
Yeah.
And it's just like happens everywhere.
Bro, I'm in sales.
Right.
And there are times, like sometimes I sell somebody, because I think the package I sell people is good.
And you're like, Jesus wants you to buy this upgrade package.
Just wants you to, you buy this fucking marketing. No, like I do think the package I sell is good, but if I'm honest with myself, that's not the rush. The rush isn't I'm doing something good for somebody. The rush is I called this person out of fucking nowhere, and now they're giving me $20,000. That's the rush, is the taking of it. And it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's
like a similar thing to do in comedy where like
you pull the laughter out of people. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a bit of a magic trick. Like you can get people to do certain things.
Yeah.
You know? And it's not just like, oh, I got them to laugh. It's like the laughing is great because people just like to laugh. So there's really not a downside. But the idea that you can I can incite a certain emotion in this person, like a very intense emotion in this person. Like,
yeah,
it's like really, it's very interesting. It feels this is like I have a bigger theory. The reason why people like successful people, well, one, they want to be successful themselves, so they want to be like those people. But a really successful person is like somebody who can kind of like make the future happen, right? Like.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan he's like, I'm going to win the game. I'm going to score this point. And he's able to do that more and better than other people. So he's like you envy him because he can make the future happen the way he wants.
Yeah.
You know, not always, but like more than you. So like that gives him power. Like
I saw a stat with like him and Steve Kerr's record when they were on the court together. They were like 90-12 or some crazy shit. Like they both, like I think Kerr had injury issues, but like, yeah, they like that. There's like an iron will. I don't know. Do you watch? I'm getting into WNBA with Caitlin Clark. You watch?
These YouTube videos are so interesting. There's all this beef now between her and
the beef is so fucking stupid. The beef is so stupid, and it's partially Angel Reese because she's like she can't just be like you either have to be like I have no problem with Caitlin Clark. Or I hate that bitch.
Right.
I want to fucking ruin her life. Fuck her. She gets more credit than she should. But what Angel Reese does is she says both. She's like, I love Caitlin Clark. All her fans are racist, but I have no problem with her.
Right.
But fuck her. And when she gets like personal fouled in the game, I'm gonna go, yeah.
Right.
But she's great. We'll probably be on the same team together. I want to kill her.
It's so smart. This is like this is what you need. You need
rivalries.
The storylines and the rivalries.
To me, the better thing would to just be like, I hate her. Like just do like WWE style. Like lean into the perception that people have and play with it, and maybe the audience can't tell what's really like. How much do you really hate this person, and how much do you like the attention that you get from hating them?
If the WWE is listening, they should get Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese involved.
Are you kidding me? At a WrestleMania?
That would be good for wrestling and good for women's basketball.
Women's basketball's crushing it. I mean, I should say Caitlin Clark's crushing it. Women's basketball's trying to fuck it up. But, like, it is fascinating.
They should never foul her. If she gets injured and is out for, like, 6 months,
it's done.
It tanks to all the momentum.
Yeah, people want to see her win like 8 championships in a row. I mean, what's cool is like when she plays basketball, she just looks like she looks like a dude playing with a bunch of chicks.
Well, no, there's a lot of. I think the level of the women's basketball is like pretty high now. Actually,
not comparatively to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark stands out. There's a reason
her style.
There's a reason her teammates couldn't catch her passes for the first 3 weeks because nobody passes like that. Nobody has that court vision. Nobody like moves defenders around with their eyes. Like she is clearly like a level above everybody else.
Are you gonna go to a game?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh, we should go to a game.
I wanted to go when they played the Sparks, but we were in Mexico on our fucking honeymoon. No, it was great. But when I was in Mexico, I was in Mexico City in an airport. In Spanish, there was a Indiana Fever game on, and it was like standing room only in the bar. People were like watching it, into it. It's like, it's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah. It's very exciting. It's got to be like, I mean, I guess like it is irritating for the other players, like who think like, okay, like she's good, but like, why did you guys not pay attention at all until just now?
Yeah, sure. But also like the league has so much more money. They're all going to get like their own planes.
Yeah.
Soon. Not like individual people, like teams.
Yeah.
Right now they fly, I think they like fly commercial to games. They fly like the fucking Wright brothers. They're just like their sister's the pilot and they're just on the wing. Like, slow down. Like they're like just pushing their plane off a sand dune to get to Cleveland or wherever they're playing. No, but now they're like, they're all going to get rich.
Yeah.
If they just don't injure Caitlin Clark, they'll all be rich.
They will.
Right now they get paid like a mediocre doctor is like the highest salary.
Yeah.
Like
you and I would be like highly paid WNBA players right now.
But not next season. I bet next season it'll go up. They're like the league minimum or whatever. It'll be. That's why Brittany Griner was in whatever. Was she in Russia?
Russia, yeah, because they pay more money there.
She just needed more money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Like these like rich guys in Russia, they just like own teams and they pay better than they would make in the WNBA or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I would do that, man. I don't know. There's a lot of like I watch a lot of college football, and there'll be like a quarterback for a team, and I'll be like, well, what did that guy ever do? Then I'll Google him. He's 35 years old, living in like Saskatchewan, playing football for some CFL team, and I'm like, oh, he kept going. And to me, I think of it like I feel a kinship because I'm like, oh, that's like the comedy version of that's like what I'm doing.
Right, but his is much harder because he's like getting like sacked and
fucking CTE.
He's making like very little money.
No, but I think there's people who saw me doing improv in New York 10 years ago that are like, what the fuck ever happened to Erick Hellwig? Oh, there's a podcast with 12 views. All right, that's what he's up to. Guess he never quit. Similar Google searches, probably.
Well, what's the value in quitting? People it's quitting. You quit if it's like too hard and you stop. But like people just quit things sometimes to be like, well, I've made it to a certain age and I should just quit. And it's like life should be about enjoyment. You know, it shouldn't just be about like success. You know, because it's success is so flimsy.
Success is flimsy.
And it doesn't make people happy generally.
I mean, look, I would also say that happiness is flimsy.
Yeah.
It can't be about being happy either. I think life is mostly about I hate even ending this sentence. I'm going to tell people what life is about.
What you think. What for you personally, you have to have a thought about what you think life is.
I do.
Okay, so this is it could be totally wrong for everyone else.
Okay.
But you have to have a functioning concept of what life is about.
Having
right?
sex with as many people as possible.
So Leonardo DiCaprio is doing it. Yeah.
Fucking crushing it. Wilt Chamberlain. No, I think it's probably about fulfillment.
What does that mean?
You should try to be doing something that like fulfills you. Because you can be fulfilled and also be unhappy in moments.
What is it to be fulfilled, though? Can you describe what it means to be fulfilled?
Yeah, like you feel you've given yourself like a purpose.
Mm.
Now, here's the thing: that sucks. If you're like a serial killer or a rapist or someone like that, like they have a lot of purpose. So, as a society, we have to go like not okay with
do my crime and not get caught is their purpose.
Yeah, like that's hard. Like you got to make sure that you can't have like John Wayne Gacy feeling fulfilled.
Well, the problem is we have so many movies about serial killers, so it's like it's a built-in purpose almost for these people.
Yeah,
because they're like, like they're gonna make a movie about me.
They're gonna put a little clown illustration over my mugshot. Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Who will play me in the movie? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like they know that if they are good serial killers, like they won't get caught, and then when they do get caught, there'll be all this news, and then there'll eventually be a movie. There'll be like 3 or 4 streaming documentaries about them.
I know. Do you think that's really why they're doing it?
No, I think they get... Okay, so I don't think fulfillment is the right word. Like, for me personally, I think like there's simple things in life where you feel peaceful and happy. Like for me, if I go to the beach and I'm in the water and I'm in the waves, it's like very nice. I'm like, this is nice. I feel good. Yeah, like I think about physical sensations, not just like pleasure, but things that are sort of like soothing and sort of like give you like peace and contentment.
Yeah.
Or like laughter. Laughter is a thing where people feel really good. It's not just like solely hedonistic, like cocaine or something like that, you know? So like those simple things, you can build your life around that concept. Like, I like laughing. I like laughing with other people. You can build a whole purpose around that. Like you could be a stand-up comedian, do improv. You know, you can be a comedic actor or something. Like, you can build a whole life around if you go down to like the feelings in your body and you examine them when you feel the best.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I would say people should like think about. I'm giving you advice now about what life is about.
Is that what Buddha said? Or wasn't Buddha like feel nothing or remove yourself from the feeling?
Yeah, he said life is suffering, and the way to not suffer is to not be attached to things.
Yeah.
So basically, you have to like let go of your attachments to other people, money, material possessions, all that kind of stuff.
I don't want to do that.
You don't have to.
I won't.
Yeah.
But that seems like a hardcore. That's a pretty hardcore life.
Yeah, I mean, he just wandered around for what? I mean, that's the story, but who knows?
You think it's possible that he was still like talking to people he knew?
Yeah, I'm sure.
And, like getting laid and stuff.
These are all. This is all made up stuff, you know. Like these are stories that. Imagine like when you tell a story to somebody, how much it changes each time you tell it.
Oh, it's all lies.
Now
it's
think about the story
lies.
of Jesus or the Buddha, and how many times people have been telling that story, and they're like.
Then he fucking
burning
walked on the
bush.
water, dude. He walked along the water.
That's exactly how the Bible got to be the way it is.
Yeah.
Is that every time some guy who likes to embellish, he was telling it a little bit, you know. Yeah, there was nobody to call him out.
Yeah.
Like if your wife is around and you tell the same story like 3 times, she probably knows like, hey, this detail is like,
that didn't happen.
That didn't happen that way.
Did you see there was a clip of Posh Spice was like talking about, she's doing some documentary.
Oh, I remember this with the, go ahead, tell it.
Yeah, well, she goes, we grew up really working class. And David Beckham's like, tell the truth. Tell the truth. What car did your father drive you to school in? Well, it's, what car? She's like, a Rolls Royce. He's like, thank you. And people were like, I heard some people online being like, oh, he's being a dick to his wife. I'm like, no, he's saving her. It's 2024. Everybody can fucking Google how rich she is.
Yeah,
her name is fucking Posh Spice.
Yes.
So like holding your spouse accountable is good, even though there's times where my wife does it to me and I'm like, it's over between us. How could
it's a
you
natural
make
part of
me
being a
fool?
person is to make up a narrative around your life.
Do you think it's because it's like it makes you're doing it because you feel like you're not enough if you just tell the normal story?
No, I think your brain is everyone's brain is constructed that way. Like there's some experiment where they like stimulated somebody's brain to like make them thirsty.
Yeah.
So they like basically they can stimulate your brain and then you think you know like you're thirsty. And so they did this to this guy and they like
how do they do it? They
put like a little like electrode thing on,
and then they
like,
make
on
you
the
watch
brain.
Mountain Dew commercials.
No, and then they like put electricity through it and then you're like, oh, I'm thirsty or whatever. And so they did this to this guy and then he went and got water and they go, oh, why did you go get water all of a sudden? He goes, oh, I've been thirsty for a while. Whereas they're like, yeah, I just pressed this button like 3 seconds ago. It's not that you've been thirsty for a while. It's that your mind basically takes in all the information it's getting and it has to make up a coherent story for itself.
Yeah.
At all times.
Well, that's why they talked about getting rid of eyewitness testimony in court because they're like, it's so unreliable.
Yeah.
Because people are influenced. Like if they've watched the news, if they've talked to somebody else since they saw the thing, it totally warps what actually happened.
Well, think of every argument you've had with your wife where you said, oh, I said this. And she's like, no, you said this. And you don't have a court stenographer to like back you up or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
You ever have those moments where you're having that fight and you decisively win? Have you ever decisively won one of those?
Yeah, a couple times.
It is, man, I love my wife. But when I win those, I don't win them often. But when I win, I remember some of them. I remember times where the thing I said was actually true and verifiable in some way. It's great.
Yeah.
That might be the purpose in life.
Is to win fights
Is
with
to
your
win
significant
fights
other.
with your significant other. But like win, like not like they have to go, yes, I was wrong. Those are great moments.
Yeah, but then you can't hold on to them because it's like you're
you
petty.
can.
I mean, internally you can hold on to them.
Internally, I jerk off to him. I think no, but internally you can do whatever you want. Internally, externally
That's
you
true.
can't. You
That's
got to
true.
be a normal guy. But in here, you're allowed to be as fucking shitty as you want. That's
good.
That's all
a good
you.
point. That's all of life is. What about single people then? Where are they supposed to get their joy if they have nobody to fight with?
I can't. Sorry to all the singles out there. I think every single person is sad on some level. I can't. I personally, I need to be in a relationship, or I am.
Really?
I hated being single.
Were you mostly in relationships your adult life, or since you were a teen or whatever?
Not really. I mean, I just hated being single. I always want someone to share my life with. Now that said, like that doesn't mean like, like if me and Liz broke up or something, I wouldn't like just like try to go be with somebody right away. Like sometimes it's good to be single, but my own like personality or whatever, I just feel like if I'm not in a relationship, I'm trying to get into a relationship, or I'm looking
I think it's a lot of
for
people.
the right person.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, I don't understand like bachelor until you're dead mode. I could never do it.
Yeah.
It
Well, I
almost,
don't know.
to me, again, I'm not saying this is true for everybody, but for me, it makes like big moments feel less significant if you can't share them with somebody,
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, for me.
I'm trying to think of big moments that I've had that I haven't had anybody to share them with, but no, it's right. I mean, it's definitely true. But some people are just not like if you come from a situation where you don't have a good relationship with your parents, or you didn't have a good like family life when you were a kid, I could see that being like, I don't want all that drama.
Yeah, no, I get
people
it too.
Being like, I like being alone or whatever. I mean, I like being alone. I will say I like being alone, but I'm like less happy.
Yeah.
But in some ways, like sometimes I feel like my preference is to like do what I want and be less happy, which is a crazy thing to say. It's like like the barometer was like I was doing stand up, I would be making all these suicide jokes all the time, which is just a normal thing that I do.
Yeah.
But then when I got into a relationship, I stopped doing it like as much or at all.
You wanted to kill yourself less.
Yeah, I want to kill myself less, and that's objectively a great thing. But then sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like
I told so many suicide jokes in stand up. They are funny. I think they're fun, especially if
they are. Yeah,
if you point them at
if you
yourself,
do them well, yeah.
Yeah, like anything.
Yeah, you have to point them at yourself. You can't be like, "Hey, commit suicide,
Kill
bro."
yourself. I was when you walked in, I thought, kill yourself. No, like as long as you can make it funny, it's great. But yeah, I've definitely I've noticed pulling back on it since I got married, because I feel like it was like we'll watch tapes of stuff I did in stand up like early on, and I'm like, I seem more depressed. And it's like I'm also like younger, I'm better looking, like I like measurables in my life should be like no. These were the best years, but I'm like,
yeah, but it's like the emotions are like this.
I feel like I can look in photos and be like, I was single then, without knowing the timeline. I can see it in my eyes. Like I'm single then.
Oh,
there
interesting.
I'm in a relationship.
You can like from that one photo, you can see your emotional.
Yeah,
like it reveals or it like pings something that reminds you. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes when I was very depressed, I felt like everybody could just tell at all times. You ever have that? Like, I don't know if you ever had that feeling, but sometimes I would feel like it just must be so obvious to everyone how unhappy I am. Like,
yeah.
And not because I'm like just like a raging psycho or like yelling or anything. You know what I mean? Just like
People sense it.
I thought that people could sense it. I don't know if that's true.
I think it's true.
But internally, I felt like, oh, people can tell.
I think people can tell, but I also think people don't care.
Well, people don't know what to do. They can't solve your problem for you.
Even people who love you can only care so much because they've got their own depressive thoughts in their own head, their own problems. Like that's the best advice you can give anybody is people are not thinking about you as much as you think they are.
Yeah.
They're really not.
Yeah.
Like, if you can just fucking imagine how much you think about your own life, every other person you're talking to is doing the exact same thing. If they know, if you have like shit on your fucking shoe from the bathroom, somebody might look at it and go, oh, that guy has shit on his shoe. You will ruminate on how that person's just building this story about you. In most scenarios, they're going like, okay, and then they're forgetting about it, and then they might remember it later. But like, it's not a driving force in their life.
Yeah, most people don't have that much capacity to think about other people than themselves.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That's
and
a good
people
point.
who do are tortured.
Right. Well, yeah, that's probably they're in like abusive relationships or something where they're worried about this other person.
Yeah.
And walking on eggshells or something.
Or they like, I know somebody who's like very into like reading auras and stuff.
Mm.
And in my head, I'm like, or you're bipolar. It could be that. Or maybe it's the gemstones. But usually it's like, I view that as like a very hard, that's like a tough lot in life if you like feel too deeply. To feel too deeply is hard. And
Isn't that what like most artists are like? They have like they're too.
I feel like I feel too deeply a lot of the time. It sucks. It'd be nice. As I get older, I feel that becoming less and less of a problem. But when I was younger, it was a problem.
What do you mean? Like, describe to me. What do you mean?
Like worrying. Like, I guess like the kids in therapy are calling it codependent.
Uh-huh.
But like worrying too much about how other people feel to the detriment of yourself.
Oh, okay.
Like, I would do that a lot.
I don't think I had that problem that much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't picture you having that problem. You are a. The first couple times we hung out, I was like, this guy's a straight shooter.
Yeah. It just seems like too much energy to worry about what other like.
It is.
I get in situations where like, like my girlfriend will be like, oh, we can't have these people over because we didn't clean up the house. I'm like, they don't give a fuck. Like.
Yeah.
They'll come over if they don't like it. That's fine. Like we won't be friends. Like
I had a thought when you were coming over because I clean up the house a little bit more and I didn't really have time to, and I was like, Aalep won't care.
No.
Yeah, but I literally I was starting to kind of panic about it. It was when you texted me that you were going to be 10 minutes late. I was like, oh, I can run downstairs and tidy up.
Unless you spilled milk and cereal on the ground and never cleaned it up. Like if it's extreme shit like that, yeah.
It's just nothing gross. Just like I hadn't cleaned up the house.
Yeah, if it's untidy, who cares?
Yeah.
It's like this is the reality of living.
I also rode in your car, so I was like, he won't care.
Is my car dirty?
Your car
is that
was
why?
pretty dirty. I was like, if he says something, I've got that locked and loaded, ready to go.
But I just don't have the bandwidth to worry about these things. Like, to me, it's like I can't spend that much of my mental energy worrying about impressing other people. Like, this is why I don't dye. I look like an old man because I don't dye my hair or my beard, and I'm never going to because I can't. It doesn't make sense. It feels so wrong to me to worry about that. And I'm sure other people do perceive me in certain ways because of it, or maybe it makes me seem older or whatever, but it just seems so fundamentally incorrect to worry about certain things, for me at least.
Yeah. You know what it did? It made me, I feel like I'm more honest now because what I used to do is I would lie to protect people's feelings a lot. And then I'd have to maintain the web of lies based on who I'm talking to so that person won't ever feel. And once that starts to collapse on itself, you're like, oh, now it's a million times worse. Relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Family members mad at you. And you just go if I could just be as honest as possible within reason, once in a while you got to throw an L in there. But within reason, tell the truth all the time. It's
so liberating.
It's so liberating. You can be dumber. You can be honest and dumb. You can't be dumb and a liar, because then you're fucked.
Right, because you're not gonna be able to keep it all up.
You're not gonna be able to keep up. You're not gonna be able to remember.
No, it's definitely nice to just tell the truth. This is. I have a feeling that anybody I know, don't cheat on your spouse or significant other around me because I'm not gonna uphold a web of lies for you. I will not do it.
What would you do?
I mean, if I knew for certain.
So if like during this podcast,
yeah,
I was like, oh, hang on for a second, my phone rang, and I was like, yeah, come over in an hour, suck my dick. Liz is gonna be at fucking yoga. I know she goes to yoga a lot. Okay, kisses. Aalep, and back into the podcast. I'll go, we'll cut that part out. What would you do after the podcast?
I'd probably be like, listen, man, I think it's pretty messed up what you're doing. I wouldn't go and like rat on you necessarily, but I probably wouldn't hang out with you ever again.
Okay. That's the right move.
Yeah. Because I don't want to be a part of it, you know?
Yeah, especially if you like, I did have that one time where like a friend of mine was doing that. And I had to have the conversation where I was like, you know, you have brought your girlfriend into our lives.
Right.
Where she's now like a friend.
Yes.
And now I have to like be shitty to a friend.
Yes.
And it affects my ability to just like hang out with her. Like I feel like I'm doing something wrong by knowing. So you either need to stop doing that or never do it in front of me again. And that was like
that's the perfect response.
I think that's what it is. We still hung out.
Right.
But I don't but that was the end. I never heard about it or saw it again.
Well, I've known guys who I know that they cheat on their like significant other, but I don't know. I've never met or don't know their girlfriends or wives at all.
And if you did,
like it's like some guy you met from like a poker game or something, like you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I just play poker with this guy. I'm not gonna like investigate who his wife is and shit, like you know.
Yeah,
but it's just really, I don't want to. The worst would be someone really close to you, like you know, like
it sucks. It sucks.
It would be very, very like difficult and.
I've never cheated before, so
Me neither.
Yeah, I also like I'm Catholic guilt. I'm not practicing Catholic,
right? But it's in there.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking driving everything I ever do ever. So like, I feel guilty about like awkward things I've said on the phone to somebody 10 years ago. I will still remember that. Like literally, like won't be able to sleep nights, being like, oh god, what was I fucking thinking? So, like, the idea of, like, cheating on my wife and then cuddling up with her and, like, watching fucking The Notebook on our anniversary, I'd be like, dude, I want to blow my brains out. I could not handle it.
It's surprising to me that there's so many people who can handle stuff like that.
Yeah, it's
scary in some ways.
It's like a little level of, like, I don't know, like, sociopathy?
Sociopathy?
So I had like a fucking stroke trying to say the word. No, it is like crazy.
But especially people who can do multiple at once, like guys who can be married and then have like 2 or 3 women
have, like,
that they're
families,
or have multiple families that they run at the same time. It's like,
yeah,
just a tremendous amount of like effort. I don't understand how it's possible.
Is it worth it? That's the other thing I ask myself is I just go like, that's got to be a thing where you sit down for a moment and think about your life and you just go, is this even worth it? Is the juice worth the squeeze to live in the shadows like this in my life and never be fully honest with somebody and never feel truly at peace with like...
It's some like Mad Men shit where you're always living on the knife's edge like all the time. Like,
yeah, it's got to be...
Like
thrilling.
You have no like stable components to your personality. You're just doing whatever in the moment you feel is like you want to do.
The part that I could understand from the guilt part of it, of why somebody would do it, was that the comes would be good. Just based on how wrong it is. Like that.
Yeah, if that's your thing, like
I can understand that part where you're like, man, when I fuck my mistress in the house I bought for her a block away from my wife, I fucking blow a load you could not even imagine.
Well, think about stupid Dave Grohl who has like a baby. Like, just
what did Dave Grohl do?
He impregnated some chick, and now he came out and said, I have fathered a baby outside my marriage. Please respect my privacy. You know, it's man. Like, wear a condom or just get your fucking
DG.
Tubes like snipped up or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
That's fucking. I mean, again, I'm a man. I'm attracted to women. I get that part.
Yes.
We all get that part.
But it's so crazy.
It's such a bad life. like, and you're gonna get caught. That's the other thing is no one ever got away with it.
Your kid's gonna hate you.
Your kids hate you. I got a friend who's going through that. Where it's like one of the parents had like a separate, the dad had a separate thing, and they all found out, and now it's like fucking, dude, what did you destroyed your whole fucking life for what? So you can have 2 women that hate you instead of 1? That's
the tyranny of fucking this male sex drive. It's oppressive sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know, man. Just like, look, I there's a, you know, I guess some people have like open relationships. There's a part of me that thinks that's as equally fucking insane. But I'm like, if you're one of those people where you're like, I have to fuck more than 1 woman for the rest of my life, and you can just tell somebody that, there's got to be other women that'll like let you do it, or they're like, I actually
have a buddy who's he's like a non-monogamist or whatever.
It works.
Yeah, so he was like dating like 2 women at once, and he'd see them each one like once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And he was even like hanging out with, like, the one woman was like, yeah, come to my family's lake house and shit. You know what I mean? It's like one was like his primary girlfriend, and another one like.
I had a friend on this podcast that came in, and he's poly.
Yeah.
And he talked about it for like an hour. He might as well have been trying to like explain to me like the fucking Chinese alphabet. I was just like,
I can't tell if it's like extremely mature or extremely immature. Like,
it feels like
it seems like it's like, oh, you're so advanced and mature, but at the same time, I'm like, maybe it's not. Maybe it's the opposite.
Maybe it's people who are smart, because my buddy's smart. I think if you're so smart, you can like logic your way into doing anything. You can just be like, you know, actually, look, when I kill and eat these kids, it's not what you think it is. You know, I'm worried about the resources that we have for children today.
Right, yeah.
Like, you just start to, like, you're so intelligent, you can, like, make it make sense, when the reality is, like, you know deep down you're not going to fucking be with either of these people in a couple years. Like, you kind of know that. This is a way to kind of have your cake and eat it, too, but you're not being 100% honest with yourself. It's like it's almost like if you, like, take yourself. Imagine yourself like a pizza pie.
Okay.
Like a pizza
pie. Like a plain.
I don't know. For me, I would have some mushrooms. I'd probably put some, like, anchovies under the fucking.
Okay.
You know, that's getting molested as a kid. Those are my anchovies. I'm glad to get molested as a kid.
Right.
But in case my mom's listening, it's fine. It was a joke.
All jokes are kind of true, though, Mom.
No, they're not. I'm fine. Nothing happened. I was an altar boy, so I always reserve the right to remember something.
You were holding like a repressed memory card in your back pocket.
Oh, fuck, it did happen. I knew it.
Do you remember anything from the ages of 5 to 7?
No.
Yeah, okay.
No. Who knows? Don't sow seeds of doubt in my non-molested childhood. What are you doing? No, so picture yourself like a pizza.
Okay.
And, like, if you're with one person, at some point someone's going to, like, see the whole pie. But if you're, like, dividing yourself up into, like, I got this girlfriend here and I'm in a poly thing, so I got this. And then sometimes I go on. It's like you divide yourself up so much that no one ever sees the full you.
Does anyone ever see the full you? I feel like there's always 1 or 2 slices. Maybe not 2, maybe 1 slice that you can never know. You can only know 7/8 of any person.
The little part that my wife doesn't know.
It's a half slice, maybe.
It's a half slice. It's mostly my internet search history, and if I was poly, it would be a lot more that no one has to see. No one person ever gets to see enough to go like, you know, you really got a fucking problem with that. Like, my wife has sat me down in moments and been like, this is an issue, like, you have to address.
Yeah. Well, my girlfriend is a therapist, so it's like double for me, where she's like,
oh, she's probably she's on your shit,
and I'm like, no, and she's like, yes, and I'm like, I don't know.
Does she make you? Do you lay down on the couch, and then does she? Well, that's that type of therapy where you have to lay down on the couch.
I have never done the lay down on a couch therapy. Like, have you done?
No. I
feel like I would like the classic, like, lay down on the couch, like you just look up, and then, like, you can't even see the therapist.
You have to, like, make eye contact with this.
Yeah. You could just, like, look up at the wall or something, or like some plant.
I had a couple like female therapists.
Yeah.
And this is gonna sound so fucking egotistical. I don't want to say it. Never mind. I always had a feeling
they were in love with you.
Yes, I feel like they were falling in love with me because I'm a very charming person, and I've had difficulties in my life, and I could talk about them honestly, and I kind of felt like
That's their profession. People come in and tell them things.
I'm telling you, I felt on a certain level.
He's so open. He's paying me.
This is fucking getting cut out.
No,
I'm not keeping this.
Don't cut it out. Are you really gonna cut it out?
Nah, I don't cut shit out.
I don't know.
I like to threaten people that I'm gonna cut shit out. No, I did have that concern. What if they fall in love with me?
Yeah, did you just watch The Sopranos or something?
Does she fall in love with him or does he fall in love with her?
No, he falls in love with her.
He falls in love with her. I wouldn't fall in love. I don't think I'd fall in love
I don't
with
get The
either.
Sopranos. I mean, I guess maybe I don't really understand women very well. I guess. No, I don't understand women very well.
Yeah.
But, like, how is Tony appealing to any woman? I just don't get it.
He's a strong guy. He's strong. He's commanding. Like, you remember the...
I guess if you want, like, a really, like kind of, like, masculine... But he has so many negative masculine characteristics.
Sure.
You know?
But
and he's not particularly good looking. Either,
we are...
I guess he's charming.
I disagree.
You think so?
I think a lot of women would think James Gandolfini was... He's tall. That's the thing, dude.
Son
tall,
of a bitch.
That is a thing that you and I have to come to grips with. We are not tall men. Tall matters.
That's how I know I'm charming, because all of the me getting laid in my life is it's charm.
Like this, like, trust me, lady, this is going to be good for you. You're going to have a great time. I'm going to scale you like Everest.
I did. I went on a couple of dates with a woman who was 5'11".
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'6" on a good day.
Dude, give me some.
But it was like rough to like even like kiss her. She was like,
dude, I got in a I have a buddy who's 6'7". And we got drunk. We were drunk on during spring break, and we got in a fight, like a real fight.
You fought a guy who's 6'7".
It got broken up
like
quickly.
a sort of a
scrapple.
a scrum.
Like, there were like some punches were getting thrown, but like towards the body, nothing to the face. But we were pissed at each other.
Yeah. Is he like a skinny 6'7", or is he like?
He's a pretty built dude.
Okay.
And the next morning he was like, we made up, and he's like, I remember just being like, man, you really don't care that I'm 6'7". Like you just went right past that. I was like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I think that is a mentality thing. I mean, he had told me that like when we were in college and we started hanging out, like everybody would comment on how tall he was, but I never did. Because I'm just like, it's just a fucking, it's like, it's like anything else, like your hair, it's like your eyes, like, it's just a thing.
I don't know if you ever played basketball, but like I used to love playing against tall dudes.
Guys. Yes,
so I'm like, I'm going to just smoke you, and you're going to try to block me, and I'm going to be already gone.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like a cloud of dust.
I love that. When I was playing pickup, I would point to the tall guy. I'd be like, I'll fucking let him post me up. I'll fucking go under his legs and steal the ball. Like, please. Yeah, I also had a pretty good, for a short guy, I had a good post-up game.
Yeah, I have a lefty and I can do a hook shot, so that would usually get me like 1 point.
You know what they called my shot in high school? The Hellwig hook.
You have to when you're not tall. You have to. They used to say I was like Dan Marino because I would shoot very quickly. My release was very fast.
Yeah.
When just in basketball, and because I was like, I used to get, when I first started playing basketball, I would get blocked like 7-8 times a game. Half the time I would get the ball back because I was faster than everyone.
Yeah.
So they block it and I just run and go get it again. But after a while, I was like, oh, okay, so I just have to release it super fast, and these people are slow. And then when I got a little bit better, when I was like in college, I learned how to use the rim to like stop people from blocking me, and it was like such a great feeling.
Oh yeah, like you do a lot of reverses.
Yeah, you do a reverse, or you like stop short and you just sneak it right in. Like, I feel it's pretty decent. I'm like, I would love to start playing again, but
yeah, we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a walking pad behind that.
What does that mean?
I bought a walking pad for work, so I can walk while I'm working.
Oh, okay. So it's like a treadmill without a
trim down a little bit. That's the goal here in the next couple months.
That's good.
Yeah, I got a standing desk coming.
I mean, honestly, the key it's really not exercise. It's just it's what you eat.
Yeah,
I would say start each meal with like a small salad, and then so you can't eat much of other things.
Doing a lot of smoothies with kale in it.
I would say chew the fucking thing. That way you'll have to chew a lot, and then it'll make you feel full. If you just blend into a smoothie and drink it, you can drink a lot of calories before you realize what you're even doing.
I've been working. Though. I've been doing the smoothie, and that's like a full meal substitute. Like I don't eat anything for like 4 or 5 hours after that.
Yeah,
but I'm like, it's a filling smoothie. It's like I do fruit, I'll do the veggies, I'll do like a little bit of peanut butter, almond milk. Add water sometimes if it's too chunky or whatever.
I like to actually eat the vegetables, like chew them, because I feel like there's a lot of chewing involved, and that really like slows me down. I eat like a wolf. Like when I'm eating, I eat really fast, and I eat a lot.
You bust out a howl if you're really enjoying
Basically,
it.
I'm like, ooh. But like that slows me down when I have to chew a lot. It sounds ridiculous to say like chewing, but like
do you ever count your chews? 20 chews?
I try that, but it's really irritating, so I can't do it. But sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to eat 2 carrots before I eat dinner. So I'll get like full, like Bugs Bunny shit. I'll eat like 2 full carrots. And you know how you have to chew carrots a lot. And by the time you eat 2 carrots, you really can't eat that much more food. Like
so many carrots.
It's tough. It's good.
Yeah, I remember somewhere hearing that like you should try to chew 20 times before you swallow every time. And then I would like count it. I'd be like,
that's like some psychopath shit.
The food is like not even. Yeah, it's like
mush
Christian Bale, like taking my face mask off, chewing. Also, I'm just so used to swallowing on immediately.
Yes, it's like the worst habit you can develop, and so many people have developed it. When some people are like, I eat slow, I'm like, it's a blessing for you that you eat slow.
I know. When I said I swallow immediately, I was You know, you blew
Listen,
past it.
I'm sort of a high level comedian. I'm not going to take the easy bait. I'm not going to take the easy bait.
You're an honest guy, and you honestly thought that sucked.
I mean, of course, a lesser comedian was just going to take the bait, but I didn't take the bait.
I know that dude dating a 5'11" chick, not giving my horseshit jokes the love I want them. You're an honest guy. That's why you're on this podcast for a second go around.
Thank you very much.
You did? There was something, we were hanging out, and there was something you did where I went, I'll come back on the podcast, and I can't remember what it was, but it was something. It was like I think we were hanging out here, like watching football or something.
What could I have done during football?
I don't remember, but you said something. I
probably said something racist, and you were like, "Yeah, you should come back on the podcast."
It might have been that.
We were talking about.
No.
When Ross was here, we were talking about, and we was.
Oh, I remember. Okay. It was fucking woke. Ross was going like, words are violence.
Oh right, yeah.
That you went off on him.
Yeah, and
I was like, come back on my podcast.
Yeah, that's what violence is violence. I mean,
violence is violence.
I think, in a serious way, like expanding what one word means is a bad thing to do, because it, like, to say like abuse, like, okay, like you specify it's verbal abuse, physical abuse, or whatever, but like to say rape, like this is also kind of rape. Like don't expand what rape means, because it's such a serious thing. Yeah, get another word. Not that other kinds of assault are not bad, but like
no, the word has to mean something, so that if people start to like shut it out in their mind, like, oh, is it that, like everything else, and now all of a sudden people who actually have that can't like say it and be taken seriously. I feel it in myself. It's like the whole like stuff gets pushed, and then all of a sudden you're having to remind yourself like, no, wait, there are actual victims.
Yeah.
Even though people are like pretending to be victims for social points on social media, doesn't mean there aren't people that are like actually overcoming fucked up things that happen to them. But like, yeah, you see enough people. It's like whatever. It's like the Boy Who Cried Wolf.
You ever read 1984?
Yes.
So there's a section at the end, like an appendix, where if you haven't read 1984, part of the thing they do to control people in 1984 is they reduce the number of, like, the vocabulary that people have. And the way they do it is, like, you just use fewer and fewer words. And this is kind of like what happens, like, when you say, like, this is also violence. Like, everything can't be violence, or everything can't be one thing, because you're just creating one big bucket for everything to fall into.
Yeah.
And then there's no nuance to actually express yourself. And it makes people stupider, and that you can't have nuanced positions if everything is violence, if if everything is abuse, if everything is rape.
Everyone's been assaulted.
Right? Yeah. Like, like you need the nuance to understand like the severity of things and to actually like talk about things properly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens with social media is like, which is something I don't like is that like people are very black and white now. And they're like, okay, this is problematic. It's like, well, what does that mean? Like, what about it is problematic? Like, what do you object to? They just want to put a sticker on shit and say like, this is bad, this is good. And then they don't want to like have to be bothered to explain themselves and just look like fucking like good guys or whatever.
Yeah.
That's my mini rant.
It was a good rant. It's the end of the show.
Oh, is it? Okay, that's a great way to end the show.
Show's end. It actually was a great way to end the show.
Yeah.
I hope the people were listening.
Read 1984 if you're still listening to the podcast at this point.
I read Animal Farm. Is that Orwell too?
Yes. Those are the two big Orwell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Animal Farm goes pretty hard against communism.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like Boxer the horse. I will work harder.
Because you're a hard worker and you're strong.
I feel a little bit like Boxer. And I'm like, on my way to the glue factory. Got to enjoy my life a little bit
You want to
more.
be one of those piggies.
I want to be a plotter.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to start that laundromat. I told you guys about. I'm going to run a laundromat. That's going to be my...
Laundromat Hell. It should be all the same brand, like Podcast Hell. It should be like...
I can't call it Laundromat Hell.
Okay.
No one's going to...
What about Podcast Laundromat?
Podcast Laundromat?
No, this is the move.
You know what I'll probably call it? I'll probably call it Laundromat because a lot of people that go to the laundromat, like... English might not even be their first language. They like it needs to be a word that everybody recognizes that says the service that happens there.
This is what I think you should do. I think a perfect business would be a bar attached to a laundromat. So you can throw your fucking laundry in, go have a couple beers, throw it in the dryer, go have a couple more beers. But then you have a little buzzer thing, right? So it's like when your shit's done.
But people are the people maybe.
Like, imagine if you wanted to go watch a football game and you were like, oh, I'm just going to go to the laundromat. I'll throw my shit, watch the game, put it in the dryer.
Or what you could do is you could just have a laundromat with football screens.
But you want to sell fucking beer and food and other things, right? You want it to be like a sort of slightly higher end laundromat.
I think this is a bad idea.
All right, well, we'll see.
Are you going to do it?
I'm going to open up a competing pod.
Open up?
I'm going to open up high end laundromats.
It's that Curb Your Enthusiasm shit where they have like the revenge business.
No, I don't
see that.
I can't watch Curb Your Enthusiasm because I get too frustrated at his behavior.
Oh my god, dude! You have to.
I mean, I know, I get it. It's one of the. It's a very.
Well, he's got a whole season where like the subplot is when he doesn't like a coffee shop, so he opens up a revenge coffee shop right next to it that does everything the right way. And it spurns like all these businesses in LA, like revenge businesses of like celebrities. Like Mila Kunis opens a jewelry shop because someone fucked her over on a return 2 months ago.
I mean, it sounds like a very fun idea, but I literally can't handle Larry David's character. He seems like he's just so chaotic, and he just creates so many problems. I like it just funny, makes me so frustrated.
Dude,
does that make sense? What I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Sense. It makes sense. There's characters like that in shows for me too, but I don't like he can be grating, but like the show is so funny. I just like power through it.
Okay, maybe I'll just.
It's one of my favorite shows. And I think part of the reason I like it is because it's like. It had to sway me a little bit because he is a lot to take.
Yeah,
and like you are like, especially like in the first couple seasons, you're like, no, he's an asshole. But then like he starts to make good enough arguments and stuff where you're like, oh fuck, I actually agree with him in this episode. And then like that's when it starts to, I don't know. It's just like one of those shows that once it wins you over, now you like it even more. It's like The Wire. I had to try a couple times to get into The Wire. And now in my head, I'm talking to myself like bunk. I'm like,
way down in the hole.
Oh, you go so far, you're back where you came. I just talk like a grizzled black Baltimore.
You grew up around there, right? Or you went to school in Maryland, didn't you?
No, my family lives there now.
Oh, okay.
But I never lived there. But I don't know. I feel.
Do you think you'd make a good detective? I think I would make a great detective. I would make a good detective. But I don't want to go through the police academy. Like I would just like to be like a freelance, not a freelance, but like bring me in to help solve cases.
And that's also not how they do it.
Really?
Yeah, in real life, you don't get to show up at like in your mid 40s and be like, I love The Wire, and they're like, great.
I know they don't do,
like
but
you work shit beats. Like they also like there's politics. Like everybody wants to be a detective. Not everybody gets. Like I had a buddy who was a cop who was like angling for detective. I don't know if he ever made it there. He just worked he worked the corners for a little bit,
right,
and then got out. So it's like you all go to the same academy and they select who's going to be the detective.
Oh, I thought you like work your way up or some shit.
You do, but not again. Like it's just like comedy. You're like it's like being like, you know what I want to be? I want to be like a really famous comedian. It's like, yeah, detectives are like the best cops. Not everybody gets to do that job.
Right.
You might be McNulty. You might be riding the boat.
Oh no,
picking out floaters and making out with Amy Ryan. We went over, but that's okay.
That's all right.
That's a sign of a great pod.
Okay, that's good.
Aalep, you have a strong. You love social media, and you have you're driving people to your page consistently to look at my old posts that I have left pinned. Do you want to tell people
where
they can follow
you? Can find me just walk around Sunland, California. I'll be at a pickleball court near you playing pickleball. No, I'm on Instagram. I don't really do much, but it's all up in your face. AALAP in your face. You know how to spell in your face. And if you don't, I don't want you as a follower.
Yeah, fuck you. That's a good selling point to get people to. If people like your stuff, they should go back and watch because you did an episode of this podcast.
Yes.
Before you should go back and watch the old episode. I
made some like new friends and they researched me. They were like, "What's up with?" Because they heard I just stand up.
You told me about that,
and they listened to the whole episode, and I was like, "Wow, that's some like psychos. Deep dive shit."
That's like chewing your food 20 times level weird.
Yeah.
Are they still your friends?
Yeah, they're nice people.
Okay, I'm sorry I said
they're
that.
Scientists, so they like really like to research. So they were like, "Let's find out everything we can find out."
That's awesome. I love that my podcast can be that for people. Can be like if you make new friends, this is how you get vetted.
Yeah, it's scary because I don't remember anything that I said on anyone's podcast ever.
That's the beauty of a podcast. Is people put it on. If you make the lighting the right way, people just start saying shit they wouldn't say.
I thought the beauty was that you can sell ads and make money.
Oh, that's so fucking far away that I can't even mentally put myself in the dream state of making money from the pod.
You will someday.
One day it's coming. Thanks for doing the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, bro.